Hi, so today we are back with Follow Me Friday, and today we are here with Rudy. Yay!
How do?
So usually Rudy is interviewing me and asking me all of these questions, so today we get to turn the tables and I get to ask you questions. I'm so excited.
Okay.
So how did you get started in the radio business?
I got started in the radio business when my dad had been gone to Vietnam, and we were living off base, and down the street from the house was a radio station. Oh. And I rode a bicycle up to the radio station. The guys were tossing, man, I'm going to age myself on this. They were tossing a new product by a company known as Whammo, and it was called a Frisbee. And they were throwing it. That's how long ago it was. It was a new invention. And I thought it was pretty cool, so I got to hang out with the guys and talking to them. And they said, hey, come on in, let me show you how we do. So they showed me how, they let me cue up a record. And then one day they were outside smoking, throwing the Frisbee. The guys were hanging out. He said, just run a couple records. He goes, I'm going to go talk to the guys. The owner walks in. He says, what are you doing in my radio station, and who are you? And I said, he's outside, and I'll go get him. He goes, no, you stay right here. He went and got the DJs and all the rest of the staff, and it was in the evening. It was like a summer evening, about 7 or 8 o'clock. And he comes in, he goes, if you're going to be in my radio station, I need to see you and your mother in my building tomorrow. And
wow.
2 days later, we were in the building, and my mom was going, what are you getting yourself in trouble? And he said, no, if he's going to be in my building, I'd like to put him to work. He was doing a pretty good job. He goes, I went to go compliment the DJ that was there. He goes, and he was there. So my first job in radio was God's Graveyard. That's what they called it in radio back in the day. Sunday mornings from 6 to noon, 6 to 1 o'clock, you have all the preacher shows, and then they would start with American Top 40 with Casey Kasem and American Top 40.
I remember that.
Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. So yeah, there you go.
So how long have you been a radio personality?
A little over 44 years, 45 years, I guess, yeah.
Not very long.
No, not at all. I love what I do, so.
Yeah, well, you're really good at it. So have you spent all of your radio career in Abilene?
No, I've actually worked here. I've worked in Kansas, Kansas City. I've worked in Salt Lake and Wichita. I've worked, yeah, a lot of it.
Gosh.
Most of it's here, but in the early days, and then there in the early 2000s, I ran off to Kansas and Kansas City and Missouri.
Oh. So what is your favorite moment in radio or experience?
My favorite moment or experience in radio? It's probably got to be when the very first time that I did something that was not radio-like, that when they gave me my name. It was another DJ by the name of George Owens, and they had asked me they were needing somebody to climb a tower, and today, by OSHA standards, it would be so illegal. But they needed to change a light bulb on one of the antennas. I climbed up there, changed the light bulb, came down, and George goes, you are not scared of anything. You are fearless Fernandez. And so I was like, yeah, I'm fearless. Not knowing that it would stick. And from that day on,
that's how you got your name.
Buried alive in a coffin 6 foot under. I've been frozen alive in a block of ice. Once again, that was for 48 hours both times. I rode a Ferris wheel, continuous, for 5 days and 4 nights. I've lived on top of billboards. I've lived on top of buildings. In fact, Kmart, when it was on the north side, I lived on top of that building and the new Walmart when it opened.
Oh my goodness. You know, I think I remember that.
Yeah. You'd come in and I'd go, hey, don't forget to give to the kids at Christmas time, the poor kids. So, yeah.
Well, that's so neat. I thought you were going to say something like, you know, you got to meet Kenny Rogers or Dolly Parton.
I did, and I got to meet all them and George Strait.
When I was a kid, I wanted to marry Kenny Rogers. You know?
Really?
I mean, it didn't happen, but, you know.
I can tell you the story of Kenny Chesney in my living room. He really did fall out of the recliner after I told him do not sit in my recliner.
Kenny Chesney went to your house?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to tell my best friend. She loves Kenny Chesney.
And he fell out of my recliner after I told him, do not get in that recliner. It was brand new. It was a Father's Day gift. He was over visiting with a friend. And when I told him, because when they put the recliner together, they didn't put 2 bolts. He pulls the lever. It kicks up. The feet kick up. The back
like
falls
Sweet Home,
off.
Alabama.
Yeah. So
funny.
He did. He flipped over and was landing. He goes, now I know. Yeah. Fast forward 20 years later, I told that story to the boss, and she says, I'm going to the Kenny Chesney concert. You want me to say anything to him? I said, just tell him I said hi. She gets backstage. She goes, Rudy says hi. And he goes, where is he? Is he here? And she said, no, he's back at home working and all that. And she goes, did he ever tell you the story of the time I fell out of his recliner? She goes, is that story true?
Yes, it is.
As a matter of fact, it is, yeah.
That is so funny. So what is a day for you in the studio? Like what all do you do? I have a live morning show that we do. Still, we start at 6 o'clock in the morning. I do birthdays and anniversaries. That's where we start. As soon as I finish, we start preparing for the next day, researching what's trending, what's hot, what's not. The latest stories. I like to do a lot of stuff of things between women versus men, and it's not necessarily the battles, but for example, I just did a story not too long ago, women versus men. Who is better at leadership skills? And while we would like to believe that men are, a brand new study from the folks that did the study came out that we men are good at, out of all these different categories, at only 2 things in of the 6 categories, only 2 things. Mainly women are better at it. Like it says, who is more honest? It was 52% women were more honest. More, you know, so it leaned on that stuff. So I like to do that kind of research, preparing for the next day's show, and then posting them on our website. So how long does it take you to put a show together? Generally, if it's a 4-hour show, I'll spend anywhere from, I'll spend as much as 4 hours preparing for a 4-hour show, but it takes me about 2 hours of reading, researching, and getting prepped up for the next day. Yeah, I know every time we come in here, a lot of times you're like working on commercials and... the rest of the day, after I get through preparing, we start doing commercials. I don't do just commercials here. Since we're a big company, guess what? We do commercials. I do a lot of Spanish-speaking commercials, or sometimes they need voiceover work. I do voiceover work for, I've done a couple of movies, but I do a lot of voiceover work when they need somebody to do a special voice, and that's what I do. Oh, I didn't know you'd done some movies. Yeah, I've done a couple of voiceovers for movies and stuff like that, just depending on whether you need the proper pronunciation for something, and you have to enunciate, and because it's Sunday, not Sunday. It's not Sunday. No, it's not Sunday. And so I just, and I also do impersonations like, oh, James Stewart, and It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, we hear you do those. Or the wonderful Bob Bartlett from KEAN, which we get him on the air from time to time doing the forecast. So he gets mad when I do that. That sounds just like him. All right, so I've heard that you are in the Country Hall of Fame. So what does that mean to you? Honestly, look, you just gave me goosebumps. It's not about me. One of the things that the owners of these radio stations tell us to protect the license, because that license was given by the Federal Communications Commission. And that license was given that we serve our community. So when I went to the Hall of Fame, or I got given the Living Legend Award, it wasn't me. It was all of Abilene. It was all of West Texas. I was just the mouth of the South that was putting it out there. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about the barista over here, the cameraman. And it's about the people watching that are right here in our town or anywhere else. The difference they made in our community. What was I doing buried alive? I was trying to get enough money raised that they could get a robot to go teach children about drugs and how they'll bury you. When I was frozen alive, the food bank had run out of food in March. So we had to fill it fast. So
I got in a block of ice and, you know, put a freeze on hunger. Those awards are not about me. It's about what the community allowed me, let me do. So congratulations, Abilene. You're in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and you know you got given the Living Legend Award. I'm just doing a job.
So I know you say it's not about you, but one thing about you is that you are like everyone's biggest cheerleader. So, you know, doing things, and you're always doing something, you know, for the community. You're always very energetic about everything that you do. So, you know, like I love getting in my car in the mornings and listening to you on the radio. My kids are always like, he's so energetic, you know. I mean, you do, though. You lift everybody's spirit. So,
well, thank you.
That's pretty awesome. So, we really appreciate you.
Every day I just get up doing the same thing, you know, put on my clothes and say, God, lead the way, let's go. And that's, yeah, I don't drink, don't smoke, never done a drug in my life. It's just the energy that I have. It's because we got a wonderful place we live in.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
It is a very great place.
And we have great people like you.
Well, actually, I was going to say, you know, like when I started real estate, it was just, you know, you're going to go out, sell some houses. You know, I didn't know it was going to bring, you know, all the different things that it has, and like all the people that I've got to meet, you know, through it. And so, you know, I'm really thankful for my real estate and that we have got to meet you and get to know you so well, because you're such a great person. So I just want you to know that I really appreciate that.
Thank you. So, I'm honored. So who's the most famous person you've ever met?
Well, probably Barbara Corcoran and Sean Hannity. I mean, other than that, Caleb, our cameraman, he's the most awesome.
Barista Caleb. He also makes the best coffee at Tonya Harbin Real Estate. So when you go buy your house or you go sell your house, have Barista Caleb make the coffee for you. It is wonderful, delicious.
It is really good.
I suckered him into doing it one time, and he made the best cup of coffee ever.
You know, that's why I had to get the machine, is because Caleb really likes coffee. And
coffee shops, you need to be worried.
Caleb's coming for you. No.
That's his next job.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us interview you, and we'll see you next time.